Hi, so here we are, first time round the Tartan Table. My lovely brother Stewart and I.
Hello.
We'd like to welcome you to this new project that we're doing. What we're going to be doing today is part of the project that's called Making New Memories from Old Memories. And what this is just a continuation of what we've done before, which is looking at life being brought up in the 60s and 70s and not being able to do anything except to make some kind of comparison to how we live today. And some of the things that have come out to be quite funny were not in the least funny, they were just part of our normal upbringing. So today we're going to be talking about dogs. So Stuart's a big dog person, aren't you, Stuart?
Yes.
You have had fabulous dogs in your lifetime.
Yes, I have.
And also you look after dogs as
Yes,
well,
I do
don't
that.
you, Stuart?
Mm-hmm.
So just as a wee thing, if anybody's looking for someone to look after their dogs in luxury almost, certainly living in a fabulous location, lots of room for dogs to run about in, Stewart has that if you're interested. So anyway, going back to dogs, one of the things that I was thinking about, Stewart, in the 60s and 70s was, by comparison to now, and we look at people who have these really fancy dogs now, and how they pay a lot of money for their dogs, and it's actually a thing. I mean, it's like throughout the whole of the, is there such a thing as the working class now? I don't know, it doesn't really seem right to use that, but if we say maybe far more people than we would ever remember are now, as an ordinary thing, buying a very expensive dog.
Yes.
And a lot of very small dogs. Now, going back into the days when we were younger, everybody had a mongrel,
Yes.
didn't they, Stuart?
Yes.
So
Nobody where we lived had a purebred dog.
no.
Pretty
And
good.
nobody would ever buy a dog. I mean, I remember when we went to buy our dog from the canned dog home, and in those days they had licenses, Stuart, didn't they? You have to have a
There
dog
was a dog
license.
licence, that's right,
I
aye.
remember for Bruce McCormack.
It cost 30 shillings,
There you go.
£1.50.
And how long did we have him? He was beautiful.
About
dog.
10 years.
He was a beautiful, like a Labrador cross, Stuart, wasn't he?
I think he was crossed with a collie, but he just looked like a Labrador.
Oh,
he was big and broad,
beautiful.
and he had a great nature with people, but he didn't like other dogs.
And he didn't like men very much, I don't think.
I think
Was that the other dog? Anyway, he was a great family pet, Stuart,
Yes,
wasn't
he
he?
was.
So we certainly got our 30 shillings worth, didn't we, from the gorgeous Bruce. And also there was a fact of when in our day and age of being young, that dogs roamed freely,
Yes, they
Stuart.
were allowed out in the morning. Yeah.
And they just opened your door and out went your dog.
Aye.
And you went to your work and your dog went out and about the place.
That's
And nobody,
ridiculous, but it's true.
and I would often see our dog on our way to school, and it would just be cutting about with other dogs. It was almost like a kind of pack with his pals, probably, just cutting about Springburn, 2 or 3 dogs together, and then they somehow knew to come home for the tea. How is that? But that is how it is.
I remember when I went to Albert School in Springburn, as you did, years later, and I remember just walking to the bus stop, and there was a dog walked up to the zebra crossing, and the traffic stopped for it, and on its own, and crossed the road.
My
Now that's
God! How could
50
it
odd years ago, and I remember that. And
No wonder.
and the traffic stopped, never thought twice about it. And this is something I had completely forgotten about to remind me there. When our dog Bruce went out for walks, he one time come back with a dead cat in his mouth.
Oh, I did.
Walked into the house with his dead cat. My mother was horrified. And she was screaming, and she went and got Dad, and he came in, and I don't know what they do, but I know what ended up. Remember the guy next door to across the road, Jimmy Smith,
Yes.
the fruit company, fruit business. He must have seen him, and he come over about 20 minutes later, and he says to my mum, Margaret, did I see you, Bruce, with a dead cat? And she was horrified, didn't know what he's saying. And she said, yeah, he did. He found a dead cat.
I thought you were going to say it was his cat.
No, he says, I heard if you bury them under your rose bushes, they're great for your boat.
Oh my
So he
God.
says, can I get it, Mum?
Oh no! Oh my God.
So I just got to hope he did find it and he didn't kill it,
Aye,
but it was well within his capabilities.
And the other thing we were talking about was the types of dogs that were perhaps not within the areas that we worked in, which would have been called working class years ago. But the people that had more money would have what we would call fancy dogs, which would be the type of lassie dog that you were talking about earlier. Golden collies and Afghan hounds and Pekingese. Now, I've never seen a Pekingese for
Neither have I. I've seen that.
Years and years.
I don't remember. I maybe saw them when I was younger, but I think you're right, they were quite popular. But it was generally kind of young people that bought Afghans. It was because they're kind of pop star dogs, you know.
That's true. That being the sort of 70s, 80s.
Early 70s.
Early 70s.
I remember a pal of mine who, this guy told me how it was a mental case, and he was a recording engineer at that time for CBS Records in London, and he said somebody he knew had one. He says, "Do you want me to steal your pup?" I said, "No, it's okay. I don't want him to steal a pup for me." But I would have bought one, but there wasn't many around. But it was generally young people that had them.
So I would have said that when we were growing up, if people had dogs, and some people obviously didn't, but for people who had dogs, mostly the people kind of had a garden and things like that, they were mostly all mongrels, and I just thinking it was normal that the only place you would get a dog would be the cat and dog home. I would never have thought at a young age that there would be another way to get a dog.
Well, if somebody had a bitch in it,
yes,
pups.
Yes.
Oh, aye, but in fact, I remember they used to sell dogs in pet shops.
That's right, Stewart.
And cats.
With the rabbits and all that. That's true. Right. Puppies. Yeah, that's true. I forgot about that. So.
But you weren't paying, but they were all mongrels, or they pups. So you'd be paying 30 shillings, £2.
And there would be nothing in those days like puppy farms where there is now, Stewart. Would there have been?
Only because there wouldn't be enough demand for them.
Yeah.
Because even the well-to-do people, there wasn't that many. Well, we didn't mix any suckers out enough. But the people you would see out and about, there wasn't a lot of dogs around.
Yeah. So the other thing we were talking about earlier was kind of dog food, that there would have been kind of maybe even like the 50s and the 40s, and dogs getting bones from butchers and things, which doesn't really seem to happen now.
No, I think dogs have become millenniums as well. They have all these sort of things that they never had before, allergies and dogs, because I look after dogs, as you know. And the amount of people.
Would you ever, for example, go to a butcher and get a dog?
Absolutely, all the time.
Did you do that for your own dogs?
I used to do it all the time.
Right.
But for a while we had two Great Danes and a Labrador, and the Great Dane bitch, the two dogs had the same name, believe it or not.
Oh God.
They're both called Barney. We got the Labrador from a friend, and he was getting old, and he had the last year of his life with us. He had the best year he probably ever had, because he had a great life with us. But anyway. So my son-in-law Willie, he sells as a confectionery salesman, and there's a butcher's near a shop that he delivers to, and I remember him bringing back these giant knuckle bones, you know, for a cow, right? And so he brought them up, and he gave them one each, right? But because Great Danes are as thick as mince, they just like it. And within half an hour, the bitch had them all. This black Great Dane bitch had them all, because the dogs would look at them and sniff at them, and then maybe have a wee chew, then get fed up. But she would be sitting watching them, and then about half an hour later, there's a kind of high corner in our garden, and she had the three of them in front of her, because she'd taken the other two when the other two were just being daft, wandering about. She sat there with the three of them, and the other two were terrified to come near them.
Did she eat them, Stuart?
No, she chewed them, and she buried them, but only about half buried them. So there's wee bits sticking up, as if the other two would never notice that there was bones in there. It was like a crime scene.
So you would never really think, how things have changed so much now when you. What about the food, Stuart? You were saying that maybe that back in the days, maybe even before our days of having a dog, that people just gave their dog the dinners that they were having. They didn't have dog food as such.
No, because in the early 60s, we got Bruce, I think about 1960 or something. And with that, there was Pal, there was all these adverts for Pal, and all these other, there was other dog foods. But I remember that the generation older than us would have said, well, this is quite a new thing, because before that, all pets, like dogs and cats, would just get food. You wouldn't buy special food for them, that's what it came. Whatever your meal was, if there was 4 in the family, there'd be like a fifth, and the fifth was for the dog. And they also ate generally 3 meals a day. The 1 or 2 meals a day that dogs eat now is coming through, maybe development people have thought, well, they're better eating 1 or 2 meals a day, but then they used to get 3 meals a day,
same as the family.
Like their owners, they just ate at the same time.
So things have changed dramatically, both between when we think about the fact that dogs were roaming about the place with their pals,
Uh-huh.
and obviously without any leads or anything like that on.
No.
You know, they would just be
wandered about.
free to do really what they wanted. And nowadays, you know, it's all about having your dog in a lead, isn't it,
Oh,
Stuart?
absolutely.
It's very different now.
I remember
Yeah.
when I was about 1971, I was just a teenager, and I was about 20, in fact, 19, 20, and I remember going and sitting my motorcycle driving test, and I had borrowed my pal Eddie Cairns, his father had a Honda 50, so I'm on this and a very wee lightweight thing, so you generally in those days you would just drive about, and you know, just basically go around in circles in these different parts of these buildings, and it was in Ridley. Ridley was quite quiet, a lot of wee nice wee side streets. To this day, there's still people do a lot of lemon driving up there.
It's a bit like here actually, Stuart.
Aye.
Similar houses.
We
lots
slightly wider roads.
wider
So,
roads,
and
that's
then I remember the instructor, the motorcycle instructor, would just stand at a part of the road and tell you to do things, and basically he wouldn't move very much. And so he said, I remember saying, right, you go down, turn first left, and go round the block, and then come back. Just come back to where I am. So I'm driving around, and it turns to the left, and on my right there's a bit of kind of vacant ground where there was trees, or it's like a wee wood, right? And there's about 8 dogs, all just there together. And I could see them looking at me, and they started to chase after me.
Oh
And
no!
I fell off the motorcycle.
Oh God!
But it was out of sight of the instructor, so he never saw me, so I came back and shaking him, and I passed, thankfully. But that was just an example of dogs being on their own. But having said that, I don't ever remember hearing anything about dogs running wild,
No.
attacking people.
No.
I don't remember that at all.
No.
Even attacking other dogs.
Or even like the way some dogs attack children now, Stuart. That is certainly unheard of in my day. I don't remember that at all.
Certainly no, seriously, I don't remember. But having said that, there wasn't, you know,
Crossbreeds and
well, there's dogs that people buy for their own reasons.
yeah.
You know, I mean, beautiful dogs like Staffies, they're just wonderful dogs,
Yeah.
but they're immensely strong,
Yes.
and obviously can be led astray if somebody is aggressive with them and teaches them to be aggressive. They're formidable weapons.
Uh-huh.
So, as far as I know, these dogs didn't exist then. Alsatians were the devil dog of their day.
And I was actually thinking about the names that dogs had as well. So I think when we got Bruce, that was already his name, was it, Stuart?
No,
Or did
we got him for the
called
cat
him?
and dog. My dad probably.
Dad called him Bruce.
Well, I
It's
think
a
we all
good name,
agreed.
isn't it?
We all agreed that
It's a
would be a
good
good
name,
name.
wasn't it, Bruce? But I suppose the sort of name at that time was Rex, was it not, Stuart?
Exactly.
You know, when you've got all these fancy names
Aye.
for dogs now,
Aye.
so it was all kind of.
It was
What would be
rebel
another-
and all
Aye.
kind of, you know, semi-violent names or dramatic names for your dog.
Aye, and some of them would be picked out of comics,
Aye.
like, you know.
Flash and things
Aye,
like that.
aye. But quite small and quite straight to the
Aye,
point.
that's what I mean,
kind
quite
of
dramatic names, yeah.
Aye. So it's a different day for dogs now, isn't it? They're all get their own seats and cars and all that
Aye,
now.
safety
you know.
belts.
Safety belts.
Safety belts, yeah.
I don't know, is this a progress or is it not? I don't know. It's difficult for me to say sometimes whether it is or not, because it's certainly good and bad when you look back. And I think if you can look back with a sense of actually being there and actually experiencing that, you have a very different view from somebody who doesn't. You know, because you can see the sort of I don't know. I keep saying it's kind of a bit of a naivety in life then, but there didn't seem a need for us to to be in competition with each other. Nowadays, even where dogs are concerned, what kind of dog have you got? I don't remember any of those conversations
I think it
taking
comes down
place.
to money. People didn't have money to basically waste.
Yeah.
You know, that for most working class people, you know, to waste the equivalent of £1,000 on a dog would be unknown.
Yeah.
You know, you said at the beginning of the conversation, I didn't know anybody who had a pedigree dog.
Yeah.
But you know, now you get really nice ones like the Labradors, they're lovely dogs.
Yes.
But you get all sorts of other ones, hybrids, and I don't think they're very successful. But I know that this friend of mine, Sheena Harkins, who's a dog person, is a dog breeder and a judge. And for a wee while she worked as an admin in a vet's, and somebody phoned up and to book an appointment, and so Sheena says, right, and she's taking the details, and she says, what kind of dog is it? And the lady says, it's a Labrador. She says, oh, you mean it's a mongrel? She said, no, it's a Labrador. No, I think you mean it's a mongrel.
Oh dear.
It probably cost about £1,200
Easy,
for this,
yeah.
you know, maybe a lot more than that, you know, so you need to be very sensitive about dogs.
I was also thinking about when you were describing one of your family who's a beautiful dog, and then they have the dog's food delivered to the house.
Yes, that's right.
And how the dog's got its own name.
On the packaging.
Yeah, and I remember even when you were talking about the vet there, that when we used to take the dog to the vet, it would be Mrs. McCormack, bring your dog in.
Right.
Nowadays, it would be Hector McCormack, which was in the actual name of the dog.
You just followed the dog in.
And I think that's quite funny.
That is,
It
it's
is for
absolutely
me
hilarious,
anyway. You were saying it's funny to look at a dog's name on a package
Aye,
to that address with its food on it.
Aye.
That's the thing now, isn't
I
it?
couldn't
You
believe
see
it to see Buster Anderson. It's big package, and his address.
It's too funny, isn't it? It's brilliant. Anyway, I do think that I don't have a dog now, but I've certainly had some in the past, and you've had beautiful dogs in the past that have brought you so much to your life, Stuart. And I honestly think that dogs can bring a dynamics to your home, providing you get the dog that suits you, not necessarily the dog you want, but the dog that will suit your lifestyle. You know, if you're not out a lot, you obviously want a dog that isn't going to be jumping about all over the place and is happy not to have too much exercise and trying to fit the dog to you. That's going to be the most successful thing. But I definitely think that if a dog leaves your home, you must have felt that, Stuart, when your dog, your last dog, died. It's just the most upsetting thing ever. And your house just never feels the same.
No, it doesn't.
Doesn't it not?
It doesn't. And I mean, the thing, we're talking about dogs, I think that every dog, I'm sure it's the case, every dog needs to have a purpose in life. It needs to think it has a job.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, people, if you buy, really clever dogs that have stations and collies, and if you leave them in a house all day, you're going to come back to a wrecked house or a neurotic dog. Yeah. Because, I mean, I've said this so many times, a dog in the wild sense would never ever be alone. Yes. Its whole life would never be alone. Yes, so you're abandoning a dog. Somebody's away with the house for 8:30 in the morning, often before that, and they're not back to 5:30. The dog's sitting itself. Now we generally had 2 Great Danes at a time, and because they were big, thick things, they weren't the cleverest of dogs, but they were happy. Yeah. And we would walk at least twice a day out in the woods or the fields, because where I live you can do that. And I'm sure they went back at night thinking, right, we've had a good day. All our cows, because they thought all the cows were ours because there was no other people there. Yeah. All these sheep are ours, nobody's stolen one. We've got grandkids here, nobody's touched the grandchildren.
Brilliant grandchildren.
So we've done a good job today.
Yes.
We can put our heads down with a clear conscience.
Yes.
And be happy. Whereas other dogs, as I said, really intelligent breeds are thinking, I should be doing something, I should be guarding something, we should be working somewhere, I should be with you,
I would love to have a dog, and because I spend so much time on my own and there are days and days go past and I don't see anybody, and I am the ideal candidate for having a dog. But I'm never very sure of my work situation, and I know that in the past when I had to give the last dog away, because it was a work thing, I had to actually move away and there was nobody to look after the dog, and I was so heartbroken, so I'm so terrified to make that mistake again if my work situation was to change, because I really, for me, and it's a personal thing, for people who live on their own, or for 2 people who are working, who are out all day, I would have to ask the question, is that really the right thing to do? Is that the right thing to do for the dog? It's not just about you, it's about your dog. That's what I think, and I just think that it's sad when you see dogs, barking, and there's nobody with them all day long, and the owner might say, oh yes, but we take them out for a big long walk in the morning, but it's not just about the walking, it's about the company.
Of course it is.
Dogs are very social animals.
I always found that with ours, if for any reason, Geraldine and I were ill or whatever, for any reason anybody was in the house, they'd be quite happy to sit in the house all day. They'd prefer to be out and about, but they wouldn't be agitated if you were basically lying in bed and you just had to get up and go to the toilet and give yourself a cup of tea and you could feed them. They'd be quite happy. They'd stay with you all day.
And they didn't like the rain, Stuart?
No, they did not like the rain, but just kind of other thing was all the dogs I ever had in contact with loved cars.
Yes.
They all loved cars. And I remember once, and when you start packing the car, like that, what's happening here? They think they're going to leave me, I don't think so. And I remember we were packing the car, and again, our granddaughter Kaylin, she used to spend a lot of time with us at the weekends, and we were probably taking her back to Glasgow, and we were doing whatever, and she's just a wee girl, and Geraldine had this car, it was a Nissan, I can't remember what the name it was, but it's quite high, quite big.
It's a people carrier,
it was not like a weird version of a people carrier, it was quite high up, that's what I remember. And so we're looking about and we're getting stuff ready, getting our bags out, and we looks up, and she's sitting inside the back seat with these 2 giants, with these 2 Great Danes looking out. And I said, Kaylin, how did you get in there? and she looked at one of the dogs and said, "Sasha, let me in." You know, the dog's going, we don't know how to open the doors, do we? So this wee 2-year-old climbed up, opened the doors, let them in, and then get in and shut the door, and I'm just sitting saying, well,
waiting.
too late now.
Yeah.
Too late. If you think you're going somewhere, well, you just have to take us.
Hurry up, we're ready. Ready for all.
Aye.
Okay, so I hope you've enjoyed that, a wee trip into the past, part of the new project, the Tartan Table. And been brilliant to see Stewart. Just wished you lived a wee bit closer sometimes, Stewart, to see you a bit more often, but we'll see what happens next week. So thanks very much for joining us today. We'll be sending out this video onto the Facebook page, and as you know, we'll be going onto the Tartan Table on YouTube as well. So look out for us later on this week. We've got a great interview with a local guy who's got an amazing story to tell, so we're looking forward to that. So look out for that, I'll let you know. So thank you very much for joining us today. It's been lovely, hasn't it, Stuart? And we'll look forward very much to seeing you next time. Thanks.
See you later. Bye now.